Good evening. All right. So I'm going to get everything set up, but first I got to do planning. I got to figure out what I'm doing this next week. All right, so it starts on that day. So what do I have on my project? I've got fix bugs for update. I want emotes. All right, so emotes. All right, that can do it. And UI-driven mouse pointer. All right, so if we have a mouse pointer, what we want to do is we basically want to have it, if you move the stick when you're in a menu, so we need an actual mouse pointer object. Let's see. Proper visibility when moving controller axis. Use proper axis for motion. And then we'll have a hover and over states for buttons. Alright, so get that going on. And what other bugs do we got? We solved that one yesterday. Oh, we solved that one too. And let's start a tech debt sort of thing here. where we need to overhaul a few systems that are pretty crap. Let me take a look at some of my other stuff. Other than that, further along we have the practice room, and I think we need a... And the practice room stuff, I don't know. It could be kind of complicated, so I have no idea how much... I don't even know where it starts. The first task is going to be just figuring out what the hell I'm even doing for it. Yeah, I think these are kind of the tasks and for this Sprint 9. Are we really doing a 3.10 release? Yeah, that's the plan. Update 4. Why don't we just put those on there? Just make sure those are at least on the list, so I know what I'm gonna do for them. All right. So I'm gonna have to start working on various bug fixes here. So since we've got our sprint planning done, we can actually start working on our stuff. So the first thing, the game option playlists work locally and in dedicated servers. So I need to make sure that we are actually using our playlists and the playlists are working. So how is it supposed to work? Well, basically we've got this server config, which is supposed to be picking up our playlist config. So our playlist is supposed to be the sticky ball playlist. Which exists inside of the normal game modes, so I need to open that up. Alright. Oh yeah, one other thing, I need to go put a max players in match somewhere here. Alright, so we'll get that sort of thing going on. Because I need to fix the... I was thinking about it. I have it so you can vote for more players in the game, and I didn't actually put a cap on how many you could vote for, so you could theoretically just keep voting and get just like a million bajillion players. So we'll just build this. Thank you for following 716. Right now I'm just trying to talk to talk to Adam and see if... And make sure. So let's hook up that thing there. So it sounds like Adam does want some sort of light AI sort of thing that does do something. Bots, though, man. Bots aren't going to work. So, like, if you're familiar with kind of how game dev goes, yeah, I could go over like a whole bunch of reasons why what Adam's saying isn't going to work. Like using the bots is not going to work because, like, let's say we change the bot AI. All of a sudden, like the main menu's broken. Like there's just a bot standing there with his crotch in the camera, and Adam's like, "What the fuck?" I'd be like, "Ah, damn it! I fixed the bot AI for this other thing, and now they just stand in front of the camera and do nothing." It's kind of like one of the big takeaways from Halo was that, well, one of the things in Halo that they had problems with is every time they would change one of the characters, all their cinematics would break because, like the Banshee speed and all that stuff went into, a Banshee flying into a hangar or something. And of course, they had to change absolutely all of that because that's what happens. And it would break all their cinematics, and they wouldn't know about it until QA actually went and finished a level and stuff like that. So it's one of those things where you want to make copies or you want to make brand new things that are just like, here's a cinematic character that are simpler and don't follow the same rules. And he's like, the effects don't have to play. I'd be like, yeah, they kind of do. Like, it's like, it's one of those things. Game development is always absolutely impossible. It's kind of funny. Anyway, what he really needs is he just needs the spawner for a single actor, which runs in a direction. And that's it. That's it. That's all he needs. Alright, so this needs to be less than the max reasonable players. This needs to be greater than 1? No. That looks like it's a copy-paste from somewhere else. So we just need this. We need to be less than the maximum reasonable players to increment this guy. Alright, that should work. So why don't we first do that? So I'm gonna go ahead and make a an object that will spawn an actor which runs along the ground. So we're going to want a new thing here, which is going to be, this is in gameplay Brackensack. This will be in, I guess, gameplay cinematic. And we want a, what's this going to be based off of? Should we base it off of an object actor? No, because those are like objects that do things. So I think this is just going to be, why don't we actually make a new C++ class here and all that. So I'm going to stop doing bug fixes. This will be making cinematic, making character spawner. Yeah. All right. So make these Dashkin cinematic actors, and we'll add them in here. Alright, so we'll have a tick, we'll have a begin play. And what I want to do is I just want to get some basic stuff going. So they have a scene component, which is the root, and that's fine. And for these guys, we're going to make some real simple. Basically, how these guys are going to work is they will use the geometry of their current frame, and we're going to take the center, we're going to move the object forward based on their speed. We're then going to move them up based on a very large value, and then we're just going to put them onto the ground. So as they run, they will, they'll be running forward at constant speed, but they'll just be like putting themselves up on whatever slope. So they'd run faster uphill and faster downhill, like they basically just go straight down a damned hill. Like if they were running off a cliff, I guess they would just immediately go to the bottom of the cliff if we did it that way. Well, we can always just do some basic stuff where we take the center, we move them up by their height, so we move them like up here, and then we try to put them down, and we'll make them start falling or something. We'll just do something simple, just snap them to the ground first, and just do it that way. It doesn't know what a scene component is? Oh, it's because we haven't defined it. Yeah, the other thing is if we had bots using actual abilities in the background or something like that, we had like some other abilities. Let's say we had some abilities that have some crash bugs or have some graphical crash bugs for some people. Then they boot up the main menu and then randomly crash for some goddamn reason that we'll never find out. So I don't know. I highly disagree with putting bots in the background. Alright, so we want a cinematic spawner and a cinematic actor. The cinematic spawner will spawn the object every so often, and the cinematic actor will play an animation and move in a certain direction that it was spawned from. I thought I made a cinematic folder. I guess not. Okay, so I'll make a cinematic spawner. I want to attach something to it that we can actually see in the game, because if you drag this on you, there's nothing in it. I can throw a fucking door frame on here. What would be a good thing to add as kind of a rigging object? I guess maybe just a sphere. And let's take a look at what we did for the water objects. It's just a collider. Oh, we have a static mesh. The static mesh has rigging, water, object, material. Let's copy it. Let's just say rigging. So we have a color, which we're going to set, all that stuff, which is fine. Alright, so we need that arrow to be a lot bigger is what it looks like. It does some really weird use in editor scaling. I mean, can't it just be a normal fucking arrow? Is screen scaled. Set limit. It'd be nice if they just had an arrow of a certain length. So it doesn't. I guess that's more what I'm looking for right there, but that it's just stupid. I don't know. I think that's a really crappy arrow from Epic. Because I don't like it that you zoom out and you can't see the fucking arrow. You have to like zoom into it, but that's. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to accept that it's pretty stupid. Alright, so we need to go to the construction script. We're gonna add a variable which will be the. We're gonna want a class of cinematic actor. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a flipbook. And that flipbook we're going to add in yeah, we've got all these guys here. And what's the material we should be using? It's masked lit tricolor sprite. So with these guys, we're gonna want to spawn them, and they should be going in a certain direction. We're gonna want them going at a certain speed, and we're gonna want them to face a camera. So this will be a vector. This will be a speed. I mean a float. This will be a vector. And these will be accessible and exposed on spawn. And we also want a paper flipbook. So this will be a paper flipbook class. Is that what we need? We need to set the source flipbook. These three variables need to be, well, I guess we're fine. I'm just trying to keep it simple to begin with. So I want this thing to move. We then want it to face itself towards this camera, and we want it to die at a certain time. Okay, so what we want to do in our move function is, so we want to calculate our new position. Which is going to be our speed multiplied by our direction and then we want to multiply this by our delta t. Then we add our current position and we want to add it. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to take our test position and we want to pop it up into the air, shoot a ray down, and then put them on the ground. So we want our test position. So we'll set our test position to our current position, and then we want to add straight up. So it's going to be like 2,000. Let's see what we got in our physics utils. Well, the one I want to call is this sweep component. And I don't have it accessible. Well, let's make it accessible. So we're also going to want to kill our actor. So we want to take our life and then we're going to set our kill time to life plus current time. So if this is greater than or equal to our kill time, then we are going to destroy ourselves. The other thing, we're going to build in some sanity stuff here, so we're going to build in basically a Z kill. So if this guy falls off a cliff or something, he's gonna die. Alright, so that'll kill our actor. Face towards camera. See if they already have a handy function for this. Target position. So what does this look at? Clamp cone in degrees. 0. Yeah, okay. So look at, so I want to get actor transform. So our target position, our look at, so our target position is like get actor location, right? Look at vector, we're going to want to look at, do we have documentation on this? Alright, so let's see. The look at skeletal control can be used to, no, this is not. Okay, so I guess it's easier. We want to use the find look rotation. So the start is get actor location. And then we just have our target. And this will return our rotator. So we only want to change the Z. So it'll face us towards our camera. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is close this and do the motion. Alright, well, it looks like Adam's still having fun screwing around with this stuff. It kind of sucks when he's streaming because we can't actually talk about crap. Because so I I mean you can. It's almost impossible to get some across to him when he's streaming because his brain is streaming. So it's hard to get something in there. So he's probably wasting his time right now, but he's just gonna have to waste his time. Because there's so many other problems. Like, he's not even thinking about, like, facing the camera and how everything's gonna be screwed up there. And all the limitations that he's actually working with that he doesn't even know he has. Because there's so many things that he's gonna want that you can't have, which would be like fucking hoof sound effects on stuff, and he can't do that with a fucking particle. So I don't know. It's just one of those things where you're just like, stop hitting yourself, you know, like shit, whatever. He'll just have fun doing that. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna fucking happen. Not a damn chance. Like, yeah. It's like, really? We're gonna spend 2 million years on the fucking main menu for this game? I'm sorry, you're gonna look at the main menu and then you're gonna click through it. End of story. Like, why the fuck would you spend that much time on it? Alright. It's not worth listening to. Okay, so we got the test position, the test direction. We're gonna have, it's gonna be straight down, so it's gonna be a negative z. Distance, let's just put it at 10,000. So I think this basically does a hit. So if we have a hit, the first one in the hits array is going to be our actual hit. So we want to break our hit result and get our impact point. And we want to set our z value to that. Actually, we don't want our actual location, we want our new position. Actually, what we want to do is we want to set new position to that. And basically, regardless of whatever we got going on, we want to set our actor location to new position. And for our rotation, I think we want to be specific. We want to make a rotator we can't make a quat structure? Okay, yeah, what? So theoretically this should work. So let's go to our event text. So let's do last spawn time. Should be a float. Alright, so let's get the